Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, Google our homepage, WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage. There you'll see a little info on our club, frequencies we operate on, and also a link for streaming on YouTube on our front page for streaming, that is. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions during our nets held on Saturdays and Wednesdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. This is Dave, KD7CYM. I'm going to pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway. Hearing on again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM, and so far, checked into our net this evening is Ron, KD7QKU, Bert, N7CS, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the net this evening?
7 Hotel Yankee Bravo.
And the net acknowledges Gary, K7HYB. Does anybody else like to check in? Now we'll get the net underway. Let's start off with Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, good evening, all. This is KD7QKU in Tacoma, as most of you know. Well, let's see. Right now, I was going to play with my amateur television tonight, but my legs started aching. I don't know what happened. I was out in the kitchen about 3:30. I think I was getting a snack, and Joanne was putting some country ribs in the oven, and the Christmas seemed like right after that it just started aching like terrible. So I taken a Tylenol, helped a little bit. I just taken another one a minute ago. So anyway, the other day, I can't remember if I told you guys, I know I've told probably Dave and Richard, but the rest of you didn't know. I put a mirror in a chair and then I pointed it out the window so I could go outside and turn the antenna and see the receive television set on the ATV in the mirror. Well, I had to make about a half a dozen trips and I never did get it adjusted quite right, so then I hollered at my wife and asked her if she would help me. So then I went outside and then she moved everything around till I could finally see it. And then I moved the antenna to where I could get the best picture. So I had it locked up on the identification screen, and the color bars and everything were coming through pretty good. I would say I was receiving a paid-for picture, so I was feeling pretty good about it. So anyway, then later on I came in and I couldn't shut off the repeater. Let me let her drop. Call James, and so he said okay, he would shut it off. He gave me about 30 minutes and then he'd shut it off. So I went to transmit. He put it on 2 so I could transmit, and my transmitter wouldn't transmit, I could tell. I flipped the switch and I wiggled wires and everything, and then all of a sudden it started transmitting. So I don't know what the problem was, but my picture coming back was awful. I don't know. I don't even think it was a P2, maybe 1.5. It had no color in it. It hardly synced up, and it was just, I could tell tell it was me, but that was about it. And so it was, I don't know what happened. So it seemed like when I first put the station together, my picture coming back actually had some color in it. So I don't know. Dave suggested maybe my power supply isn't putting out enough. Maybe the transmitter is getting old. I don't know. Let me let it drop. I do have another transmitter, I believe, that I was using for mobile. I think it's out in the shed. But my leg, I had stepped in a hole and twisted my leg a little bit. It just hurt my heck. So I gave up on that. And maybe one of these days I'll check the voltage on my power supply, and then I'll look for that other transmitter. But right now it wouldn't be worthwhile, I don't think, for me to put out a picture. So sorry about that, guys. Back to that KD7QKU.
QKU, and the net acknowledges Jessica. KF7UHK is showing the net. So, Jessica, what say you?
Pork loins you get like in a bag from the belly section of your meat section at your local Freddy's or other places like that. And I had some leftover Cheetos that were the really flaming hot Cheetos, and I stuck them all in. I stuck the Cheetos into a food processor, crunched them up, and have coated the outside of this pork loin and just stuck in the oven to give it kind of a crust on the outside. And it should be delicious. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see. On other news, I drove what's called the 80X. It's the 80 Express up to Bellingham today, which is a 1 hour up and 1 hour back. So I was busy driving a bus for only four times in the iteration. But boy, it was a long day. It was still a long day. They called me at 4:20 this morning because someone called out and I was on call for today. So they called up and they say, we hate to bother you at 4:20 in the morning, but we really need you here by 6:50. And I said, let me at it. So there we go. I'm gonna pass it back. KF7UHK.
UHK. Let's go to Bert, M7CS in Marysville.
Well, let's see. I got a new microphone extension cable. Does my audio sound okay? Coming over here? Okay, cool. Yeah, I bought a couple of 8-foot mic extension cords for my ICOM radio so that I don't have to hold the thing in my hand now. So it seems to be working okay then if the audio sounds good. So let's see. Oh, Ron, you were talking about your transmitting signal. Do you have any kind of amp on your transmitter? I wonder if you need to get an amp maybe because you're further away now. So that would be something worth looking into. But let's see. Oh, I got a new chair for my office here. The old one has been falling apart for about a year and a half or two. And finally, I looked at the kind of office chairs we had at work, and I kind of turned one of them upside down, wrote the numbers down, and because it was a pretty nice chair, so I ended up getting the same one I had at work, so that's good. And then I have some news about the status of my generator, but I might wait for the next round in case James shows up a little later to tell everybody about what's going on with the generator. Anyway, this is Bert Marysville in 7CS. Back to that.
7CS, thanks with that. Well, let's go to Gary. We haven't heard from in a while. K7HYB.
K7CYM, K7HYB. Anyway, yeah, I've been out of sorts between COVID and some other personal situations here. I had to re-roof my garage here a couple of months ago, and during that process I lost all the mounts for my antennas. And at this stage of my life, I don't think I'm going to go to the trouble of going back by the country. I'm going to probably pull out a ham TV altogether. So So all my MTV stuff is up for sale or giveaway. I've got two 1.2 gig beams, one about 25 elements and one about 11 elements. And 450, got a 450 analog transmitter and a linear power supply and stuff like that. Yeah, it's still getting old. I'm getting to the point where I can't get up there and do that stuff anymore. And so consequently, in all probability, it's not going to get done. We're probably going to have to end up moving out of our house here in the next 6 months to a year or something like that. Just the way things are, unfortunately. So that's why I kind of checked in to let everybody know that I'm still alive, but not very active. The only reason I still have the Mark II transmitter that I'm using is that I haven't put it up for sale. I'm going to probably sell all my other ham gear too. I got to clean things out, get ready to move on. I have to stop doing a lot of things right now. Anyway, so that's my situation at this point. I just want to check and let you guys know what's going on. So if anybody's interested in any of my gear, give me a call and I'll let you know the best I know what I have. And I know I've got some 440 antennas, some of the circuitry polarized. So also, Bert, I have something that belongs to you that I want to get back to you. So if you would email your address, I'd appreciate it very much. I still have that digital UT102. I think you sent in that little digital analog transmitter. So if you just email me your address, I'll put it in the mail to you. Anyway, back to you, Dave. K7HYB.
HYB, Gary. Well, thanks for updating us on what's happening in your life. Wish you success as you're moving along, and we will be missing you from the nets. However, anytime you wish, we'll be here during the nets on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock, and you can check in if you wish. We'll be missing you. Let's go on to Richard, K7ATS.
This is Richard, K7ATS. Yeah, Gary, sure is nice to hear you tonight. I'm sad to hear you're leaving us and moving on. I was thinking about that myself even, just a couple hours ago. Things change in our life, and as much as I'd like to live in this house, forever, I don't know. I don't think so. So I gotta kind of, at some point face the music, and that'd be kind of a maybe similar story. Kind of similar to you, maybe, and as you have to downsize and sell all your stuff and that sort of thing. It's just great to hear your voice. God, yeah, no, you are alive and kicking, so that's a good deal. So anyway, just the last 2-3 weeks, 6 months has just been just a kind of a topsy-turvy world. I did see the moon rocket blast off live last night. That was pretty intense. Gee whiz. Boy, I sure hope it'll be fun to see that mission over the next few days and weeks, and hopefully obviously it goes without a hitch. I like a lot of the idea and things that are showing us about how they would be mining water. Sounds pretty weird to be mining water, but I guess on the moon it makes sense. I'm all jacked up and excited about the football, especially on Sunday, where I was, what did I say, 15 hours? Well, I forgot about the 3 to 5 hours on Monday night football, and then the thing I forgot about the most is fantasy football. Like, all of a sudden, my fantasy football, well, I've been on a 4-game losing streak, I was on a 4-game winning streak, and I have Patrick Mahomes, he's a great quarterback for Kansas City. He scored me a ton of points. Anyway, I continued my winning streak. So to onward and upward, and who knows? I'm in the playoffs now for fantasy football. So, all right, well, that's enough for me for now. I got a couple other fun things to talk about. K7ITS, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that, and we'll get a little ID going here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go on to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. My goodness. Twisted your leg in a hole. I have done that, except I messed up my hip. My wife did that, and she messed up a knee, and it's still messed up. I don't know. We just don't heal as fast as we used to. Ron, I have a thought, just out of curiosity. I'm not sure of Wade's situation there. I'm curious if maybe you could compare your site with Wade's. Maybe he's got more elevation. I know he's on top of a much higher building. Well, I don't know about much higher, but I think he has his antenna up higher anyway. Compare power and then see how your signal is getting in compared to his. I've been having problems ever since. Well, of course, when we were at the schoolhouse, I couldn't get into the repeater. But then when we moved back to Cougar, once they relocated the 434 antenna, that kind of messed things up for me. But I've seen Wade's picture on the 1.2 gigahertz downlink, and it looks okay, better than mine, certainly. But I think part of that can be attributed to your picture was super good when you were close to the repeater, but now that you're a distance out there, you fall more into the category. Maybe not quite as bad as me, but it's just more difficult to get a signal that distance. Let's see. Reset. Jessica. Pork loins and Cheetos. Oh, that sounds yummy. All you need is to wash it down with a Guinness. Yum. And drove the 80X. Busy. Well, Jessica, I admire your work ethic. Getting called at 4-something in the morning, showing up at 6-something in the morning when you were maybe not expecting to not work at all during the day, but probably weren't expecting to have to go in at that time of day. Bert, work-like chair. That's got to be good, especially if you like it. I have yet to find a chair that I really like. Maybe that's part of why my back is messed up. I don't know.
And yeah, I will be looking forward to hearing about your generator as well. Gary, my goodness, giving up ATV. I would imagine you can use your 706 though almost wherever you go. May have to use a simplified antenna, but probably ought to be able to use it okay on 2 meters. But anyway, well, good luck with your next steps there. And Dick, you've been thinking about downsizing. Well, along with Gary, I've been thinking about that as well. I kind of like to stay where I am, but honestly, the property tax is getting up there to where I could pay for a whole bunch of months just with my property taxes alone. So I don't know. I'll have to think about something myself. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO. Thanks for joining the net. This is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Well, here in Lake City, it's a chilly night out, 39 degrees. The sky looks fairly clear, which means it can even get down a little bit chillier, I'm sure. Well, my day started out in the dentist chair for cleaning and an exam. Passed that with flying colors, so I'm good for 6 months, so got that out of the way. Then decided to go to Costco and did some shopping, picked up some food, came home, got on the internet. The next thing I knew, it was dark outside. I don't know what happened to the day. It just seemed to pass faster than I was ready for it. And it's kind of nice to be here tonight, being with the net, being with my ham radio buddies. But I mean, I feel sorry for Jessica. I know in my job, I used to be on call 7/24, and that includes your days off and vacation, so it made it pretty miserable. But it was financially rewarding, I got to say, and it did give me a nice retirement function, you might say. Well, so far I've got text from James, WW7N, that he missed the meeting tonight, and then also, if you weren't here earlier in the net, Lee N7Case, who was in and out for the net this evening. So that's pretty much what's happening here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, Dave in the group, this is KD7QKU again. Well, Gary, if you're still listening, I guess I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry that you're having some problems with maybe health and everything else. But you know, I was using my 2-meter radio with a mag mount antenna just sitting on the floor here behind me, and I could get into the 08 repeater. And you can always join us on Zoom, and I'm sure you'll have a laptop wherever you're at, so you can always join us on Zoom, and we'd be happy to see you, that's for sure. So let's see, Jessica, I don't know, I guess it's okay, but maybe you're working more than you thought you were going to, I don't know. So just hang in there, I guess, that's all I can say. And your dinner sounds like it's going to be good. Bert, I'll be interested to hear about the generator. I wrote down Bitcoin. So, Bert, with what's taken place lately in the Bitcoin, I think the last time I looked at Bitcoins, they were valued at $10,700. So they're still worth quite a bit. But it's too bad what's been going on with Bitcoins, that's for sure. And let's see what else. I talked to Richard this afternoon for a few minutes, so we're kind of all caught up. What else is going on here? I don't know. I guess we decided not to go to Thanksgiving dinner. My son lives out on the end of the Kitsap Peninsula. They're going to go to his mother-in-law's, which is about 3 miles away, and about 30 people were coming. So I don't know. Between between COVID and not wanting to drive on a 2-lane road for a half an hour coming home in the dark, I don't know. I just decided we'd stay home. So we're going to stay home. It's, I guess I'm getting paranoid. I was talking about my brother-in-law just had COVID. He got over it. It was his second time. So far he suffered no ill effects. Lost some taste maybe and smell. And then Jim, you were asking about Wade. Well, Wade, I would guess Wade's almost 100 feet higher than I am up the hill. And then he has basically a 3-story house. It's flat top, and his antennas are on top. He has a line of sight. You can stand on his patio deck that's about a floor below, and you just got a beautiful view of Seattle. You can just look right down the sound. He doesn't have anything obstructing him. I have to go, I'm 15 feet off the ground, and I go through a neighbor's tree that's about, I don't know, 30, 40 feet away. It's a, you know, a deciduous tree. It has leaves on it, but most of the leaves now are falling off, so I was hoping that the leaves have thinned out, it would help, but I don't know. But I was putting out, like I say, a better picture the first few times I tested it when I first moved here and set it up than I am now. So something has gotten worse. And Bert, you mentioned the amplifier. I'm not sure what you had in mind, but I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. So anyway, I guess enough for me. Back to that KD7QKU.
Let's go to Jessica, KD7UHK.
UHK, that looks like it has some hefty heat sinks on there, Bert, with a fan to keep it cool too, whatever you got going there. I was thinking about, you know, we had our Tequila house, and it had really great antenna, farm on top of the roof. You know, I had a really nice big CB antenna, which I could hit Missouri on certain mornings with Skip with 12 sideband watts, and I could hit the ATV antenna with my antenna on the Tequila house. But then when I moved here to the condo, we had nothing. I had nothing for a while except for anything around an area here. And I used to put this little antenna out in the garden, and then the association would come out and say, "You got something in the garden. It's not supposed to be in your garden." And it was my little elk Yagi periodic antenna planted out in the garden. Now it's on top of our condo, so it works really well. Is what I'm talking on now. Let me break real quick. The Apollo and all those launches and stuff. I mentioned to Bert that, you know, when the Apollos were all launching, I was in pajamas on the living room floor in my parents' house, watching it on black and white TV, you know, with tubes in the back of the TV that you had to turn the antennas just right to get a fairly decent picture. And I'd get up so early, you know, they'd just be chattering about things that some of it was just way over my head, but it's sure interesting to watch. And you look at the computers they had and the consoles they had back then, they didn't even have a TRS-80 yet. That didn't come out until like 78. So, you know, it was like 10 years before that Radio Shack 4K computer came out that they were doing something that looked very, very scientific. And then you look at 2001: A Space Odyssey that came out in 1968. I was 10 years old, and you look at it and go, "Wow, they look like they had supercomputers and neat flat screens and stuff." It was all faked. It was all faked with backlit things and just really amazing stuff. That's my thought for tonight. KM7UHK.
UHK, thanks with that. And I'll give another ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's go to Marysville to Bert, N7CS.
Okay, well, let's see, a couple things to talk about. Let's see. Okay, Ron, so maybe all you need to do is build a 130-foot tower in your yard, and that would fix your line of sight problem. You'd have the same view that Wade would have. So that's your next project. project. Let's see, what else we got here? The RS1, yeah. I stayed up late last night to watch that. I think I've been spoiled by all the SpaceX watches because the camera tracking and the views from the rocket itself on SpaceX I've just become to expect that. So the NASA footage wasn't that great compared to SpaceX. I mean, at first when it took off, it was pretty good, but then as it started getting far away, it just kept getting far away, and it was very shaky too. It's like the cameraman couldn't track it all that well. So I've been too spoiled by the other footage. But yeah, I'm glad they finally got that launched. It's been, I don't know, more than a decade in the making to finally get that going. Let's see. Oh, Gary, if you're still listening, yeah, really. Sorry to hear you're having to give up ATV. Glad to hear you though. It's been a while, but yeah, really sad on that. I'll shoot you my address and email tomorrow, or I'm happy to come by on the weekend too and pick it up in person. That's easier, but I can work with you over email on that. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah. Ron was also talking about Bitcoin. Looks like it's around 16,000 right now. It was hovering at around 20,000 for, I don't know, a month or two or so for a while, but yeah, it's gone down from its high of like 65,000 from back in 2021. Let's see, let it drop for a second. Okay, talked about Gary, talked about RS1, Bitcoin, the generator. Okay, so I think most of you know this, but when we had the windstorm in Marysville, was it a weekend or 2 weekends ago or whenever it was, our generator kicked on just like it was supposed to when the power went out, but it actually died after about 6 hours. It's supposed to be able to run for days upon days without any issue. And when we looked in the generator, it was basically oil splattered everywhere. There's oil pulling down in the pan below, and the generator's just like exactly 1 year old. I mean, not a year and a month, not 11 months, like exactly a year old. So we finally had one of the service guys come out, and he was looking at it yesterday, and he said, yeah, until today, he had never seen anything like this, and I was the second person in the day that he visited that had like the same problem. So he took lots of pictures, ran some tests and stuff, and then said he would have to like call me back this morning. So I got a call this morning, and yeah, he confirmed that the generator manufacturer is going to cover everything under warranty. They actually going to ship me a brand new engine, and they want to take the engine out of it and ship it back up to them to examine, because it sounds like they may have some kind of like defect or something that was introduced recently. So they want to get this my engine back to just figure out what's going on. But yes, I get a brand new engine out of it. He said he's not sure how long it'll take to get here, so I imagine it may be a few weeks or something like that. But hopefully it'll come before the next power outage. But anyway, that's it for now. So this is Bert in Marysville, N7CS, back to that.
7CS, thanks with that. Well, let's see if we still have Gary with us in K7HYB.
7ZYM, K7HYB. Yeah, I stuck around long enough to hear Bert's response, and thank you very much. I would appreciate that. I could just as easily mail it to you. If you want to come by, that's fine. Just give me a buzz. You got my telephone number on the list that was sent out. So that's really about all I've got. Haven't had too much going on. The weather out here is about what everybody else has experienced. It's been in the mid-40s today outside, and it was pretty pleasant. But yeah, things are just closing in on me a little too much, and I've got to get rid of some equipment and get rid of some responsibilities. I'm 80 years old, and I guess it's the time that got to move on and change my way of life. And I'm like Jim down there in Covington. I'm looking at it in a situation where with the taxes
is going up and the cost of living and stuff like that going up, I've got to figure out some way to cut my expenses so I can, and I'm certainly well off as far as retirement's are concerned. It's just that things are catching up with me, and that's the way things are going, I guess, at the moment. And I don't know how anybody makes a living now with Amazon saying they're going to lay off 10,000 people. Doesn't sound very promising for the economy in the Seattle area. I wonder if we're going to go the same way that we did in the 70s. It kind of looks like, of course, I don't know what the job force here in the Seattle area. Maybe it doesn't matter very much if they lay off 10,000 people, especially seeing how good many of them are going to be in probably in the high-tech areas, and there's all kinds of work out there for high-tech. I wish I could work on it, but I'm getting too old for that sort of thing. That's the way things are going, I guess, for me. Anyway, Bert, so give me a call or send me an email or whatever you need to do, and we'll get this square with you. I've had it for a long time. I was just going through some stuff here the other day, and I found it. I said, oh God, I got to get that back to Bert. That's something else that I borrowed from you, I know. So, anyway, that's all for me for right now. I'll listen out. So if somebody else has any further comments, that'll be fine. K7ZYM, K7HYB.
Well, let's go on to Kent, to Richard, K7ITX.
Lot to cover. So anyway, you sound really good, Gary. So at least you got that going for you. I don't know about me and my hoarse voice. I think I've got this hoarse voice now. It kind of comes and goes. It's more here than it's gone. So anyway, that's my development, Gary. But man, I'm telling you, there's too many things for me to think about right now. Let me run through this list and see what you guys think. Start at the top, all over YouTube, this accident in Dallas with the warbirds, the World War II fighter and bomber. The only thing I can glean out of that is the air boss has to take some responsibility. And then, of course, the pilot who was banking and turned his belly towards, well, he didn't, so basically the pilot who lost situational awareness should have pulled out of the formation. I think that's clear. The air boss, from what I understand, should have emphasized that in the meeting. In fact, from what I understand, the pre-op meeting before the event, the air boss did not ever discuss what the plan is if there's a problem with formation and what are other pilots to do. Okay, that's a big one. That took a lot of time. How about Russell Wilson? A chance to win the game like he always does at the end of the game, and then, of course, throws a interception right at the end zone. German fans, that game was in Germany, and I think they speak English, but what do? They bust out in the whole stadium singing John Denver, Virginia Country Road, and they're singing it in English? The whole crowd! Now why John Denver? What is it? What do Germans have about John Denver that everybody would know and sing it in English in sync simultaneously? How weird is that? that there's this football team that has a football coach with no experience? The football team with a coach with no experience beat the Las Vegas Raiders. So, I mean, this is a weird world we're in nowadays. And of course, there was no red wave like that was predicted. And our car, I think I already told you, it got kicked off the track. I stopped by, to see the owner, but they're having a big company-wide meeting, and so I'll just have to. I want to know what happened. Why did our dads in 510 get kicked off the track along with another guy? I mean, obviously it was some kind of contact, but the rocket ship blast. There's one thing I really love, and I don't go to bed until I see it, and it's Miko. Well, it kind of sounds like Mika, my cat, but it's actually Miko. I think that stands for a main engine cutoff. How crazy is that? Drive! Oh, did you say Chuckanut Drive? Or did I say Chuckanut Drive? I said Chuckanut. Oh, okay, you didn't drive on Chuckanut Drive. Oh, no, you took I-5. To our bus driver, who I would have ordered her to take me on Chuckanut Drive. Now that would have been, you can't complain about that one. That would have been, I would have loved driving the bus on Chuckanut Drive. I don't know, that'd be kind of scary actually. I have a note here, and I don't know what it stands for. I guess that'll be for the next round if it comes back to me. K7ITX, back to net control.
7ITX,
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Dave, you mentioned the weather over there. Here it is clear and cold. It's been cold all day long. Right now I've got 33 degrees here near Covington. Let's see, you did Costco, you did a dental checkup. Good job on that. I went to the dentist last week, maybe it was the week before. I've been delaying some dental work, honestly, because of the pandemic. I've been having some problems because of that reaction to the vaccine and whatnot. Anyway, now I'm going to need 2 dental implants, so I'm going to need some dental work here as well. Let's see, Ron, driving in the dark. Yeah. My wife is hooked up with a couple of groups, and they are talking about having their parties a little bit earlier in the day so that everyone can leave there and be home before it gets dark. Maybe you can talk someone into eating a little bit earlier or something. I don't know, good luck with that. Bert, can't believe it's been 1 year that you had the generator there. It sure doesn't seem that long. I remember when you said you had it installed, but anyway, sorry for the trouble that you're having. I'm glad they are replacing it under warranty. They should do that and maybe comp you a couple of dinners or something as well. Reset. And Dick, yes, it is a weird world. I caught that. You were talking in the context of football. Yes, that's weird. I missed the part in Germany about them singing that. I actually recorded that game, and I watched a lot of it, but not all of it. I had a couple of other things going on.
fact, that whole day. So I recorded several games and watched bits and pieces of all of them. Yeah, without any details, I have to just say, yes, it's definitely a weird world. And the Artemis 1 launch, glad that got on its way. We'll keep our fingers crossed that everything works out okay on that. I understand their main test is with a heat shield to see if the mannequins inside don't get melted. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. I don't know, nothing like a live test to work out the bugs. Don't want melted mannequins. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
QO, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, we were discussing football just a few words back, and I watched the Seahawks game early Sunday morning, and I was very disappointed with the photography and the video work they had. The Germans, I don't think, have quite figured out how to televise football. They're okay with their version of football, but not the American football. The close-ups were okay, and the reruns, but the all play-by-play was way too wide, and then they also had a problem with their audio. The background noise was overwhelming over the narration, so I found that very disheartening. But then it all returned back to normal in the U.S. with the Russell Wilson game, with good video, good audio, just lousy performance by Russell. But that was about it. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So we're moving back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU here. Well, let's see, I didn't make a lot of notes. I was thinking about that amplifier, Bert, is how many watt is it, and is it something that you're not using that you'd want to trade or sell? So maybe you can bring that up. And Richard, you were talking about Chuckanut Drive. Well, in our old motorhome, we were going up Chuckanut Drive, and it is a beautiful drive. I think we just stopped. We were going north, and we had just stopped down there at the big restaurant and had dinner. Had a wonderful dinner. We were headed north. Of course, that puts the mountain or the rock wall on the passenger side. And so I met this truck. It was a box truck, and some young guys driving it, and they were going like a bat out of you-know-what. My mirror only stuck out from the side of my motorhome about 6 inches, and we hit driver's mirrors and shattered my mirror and shattered his mirror. Neither one of us stopped. I was disgusted with him. He could have gotten over, but he just wouldn't do it, or didn't do it. So I didn't have any sympathy for him. So when I got into Bellingham, I got to a glass shop just as the guy was closing up. And because it was my driver's mirror, he said, okay, I'll stay and cut you a mirror. So he cut me a piece of glass and he put it in my housing, and then I think he charged me $25 and I was good to go. But otherwise I'd have been driving without a driver's mirror, and that's not so good when you're in a motorhome. You need your mirrors. So anyway, that was my experience. I've been up and down Chuckanut Drive a few times, but not with the motorhome. I only think I went up it once with the motorhome. After that, I've gone up and down it with the car. Had dinner there at the same place a couple times. So let's see, what else? Darn, I don't know. I think we're sort of running out of time. I think I'm going to turn it back to Dave. So this is KD7QKU.
QKU. Well, let's go to Spicy Jessica, KS7UHK.
I'll have to report back. But when it comes to Chuckanut Drive, I did not go on Chuckanut Drive with a big bus and the ADX that I drove today was one of the 40-foot buses, the longest of our fleet. Which, speaking of mirrors, you really got to use your mirrors to make sure you don't like run your back tire over curbs and stuff. So when I go around curbs, I'm looking at my mirror to see the back tire to see where it is, and I'm also looking at my front left to see where it is, so I don't hit something on the front. So I'm looking at both the bus at once, and it's always it makes you cross your fingers just a little bit and hold your breath just a little bit, and take your time because you don't want to damage these buses. It's not part of good employment. But part of my route today was to our Chuckanut parking ride, which is in Burlington, and I always find that interesting because then when you go up to Bellingham, and there's Chuckanut Drive, and yeah, no, I've been on that on my truck, and it's scary enough on just my pickup truck. So yeah, that would be scary on a big bus. And then we also have a Fairhaven, and up in Bellingham they have a historic Fairhaven, and in Burlington we have a Fairhaven Street, which is kind of where all the main little small restaurants and bars are at, it seems. So I find that interesting that one of them patterned themselves after the other one. I find that fascinating. But now that you talked about Chuckanut Drive, I'll have to go do that. I know they have a good place up there to get oysters, and Sylvia wants to go up there to that restaurant on Chuckanut. We're going to do that one of these days. So that's it for me. KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK, Jessica, thanks for that. Let's go on to Bert, N7CS.
So yeah, to answer Ron's questions, this is a KH6HTV amplifier. That's I think Jim Andrews out of Colorado built these things. I don't know if he started selling them again because when his house burned down in that wildfire last year, he lost a lot of his equipment. I'm not really looking to sell it right now because I still need to use this for different testing that I do. However, I mean, I'd be happy to, like, one of these days, like, come out to your house to just hook it up and see if it actually works or not. That way you can know whether you want to try to acquire one or not separately. I think Bob also has one. I don't know if he's using it. And I think there's another gentleman down south near Olympia who might have one for sale as well, if he still has it. That was a couple of years ago. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He was one of the people that I think used to be a part of the net a couple of years back. But yeah, this is for analog. It's supposed to be able to put out about 25 watts of output. For digital, it's closer to 10 watts. But so I don't know. It might be worth something to try just to see if it works or not. But anyway, I guess that's it. Probably won't come back around to me. So this is Bert and Marysville, 73 all, and N7CS. Back to that.
N7CSL, if Gary's still around, he's got another chance at the net. K7HYB.
BYM, K7HYB, well, I understand maybe Ron is looking for a power amplifier. I have one 65 watts, it's a Mirage, and it's the one that's designed for 440. That is designed to work on analog amateur TV. So if you're looking for an amplifier, I have one of those that I'll let go. I'm looking to sell it. Like I say, I'm looking to sell all my amateur TV gear with antennas and stuff like that. So give me a call and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll tell you whether I have it or not. Anyway, that's a talk for you, Ron, and good luck on getting a better signal into the I wish I had the resources to get back on the air again, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And doesn't look like I'm going to be able to stay here very much longer, maybe 6 months to a year at the most. And we're going to have to going to have to move on. We've lived here since 1969. So, we got a lot of stuff that we packed up. Well, I don't want to dominate things. I'll let it get back here, because we'll probably be closing that down here pretty quick. K701, K7HYB, and I'll be listening out.
Let's go on to Richard, 7ATS.
Scary, man. That's intense. I think I heard you say 1969. Wow, it's a long time. Well, yeah, boy, it sounds like you got your act together and you're doing the necessary stuff. I mentioned earlier, I think we all face that at some point, and you're at that point. And I see that point for myself coming, but not quite there yet. So let's see, gosh. Look, the reason I brought up Chuck and the Drive is because, I lived in Bellingham for, 5 or 6 years. I went to school there. Of course, I didn't always live there continuous. There'd be maybe a year or two where I'd live there, and then I'd go back to the plywood mill in Tacoma. But Bellingham is where I met Debbie, the YL. She just showed up on the doorstep one night. You know how college kids are. 3 girls from the dorm came down to see 3 guys in their house, and we said, it was a Friday night. We didn't have anything planned, and we couldn't believe our eyes when they answered the door. And we said, yes, come in. So that's how I met my wife. It's pretty wild. So that's why anybody says anything about Bellingham, you're going to get a rise out of me. And yeah, no, I don't know why. Chuck and I drive just pops into my head when people talk about driving to Bellingham, and that's not how they drive there. That's funny. It's almost everybody takes I-5. So anyway, a lot of fun, everybody. I enjoyed all the great stories, and good luck on your legs and your foot and your ankle and your TV signal. That sounds like you're doing a heck of a lot better than I can. So hang in there. I think you're going to get something going pretty soon. I am counting on it. All right, with that, 73 K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, and let's go on to a final with Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. I don't know, Gary, that's going to be a major change for you in your house since 1969. Has to feel like part of the family. I don't know, we're all going to get there though. Let's see. I was going to say something, but then I thought, no, I'd better not say that over the air. So I'll talk sometime on another meeting here. Let's see. I don't know. I guess I don't really have anything. I will hopefully see you all on Saturday, and hopefully I will be with video on Saturday. Good night all. Thanks for participating. KD7ZYM and 7QO.
QO, thanks for joining the net this evening. And we have time to wrap up the net. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for allowing us to utilize WW7STR's repeater 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions for our nets held on Saturdays and Wednesdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. WW7ATS, signing off the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.